От Насти хороший вопрос есть. Я вам прямо по-английски его прочитаю, хорошо? Um, okay. My question is more about individual language issues, but I hope you'll give some advice. Okay. What if a student fails to understand accept some crucial aspects of English because there is no one-on-one no one-on-one equivalent. For example, no Russian or Ukrainian equivalent, either in grammar or syntax or phonetics. For example, I had a student, a math teacher, who couldn't grasp the concept of present continuous as an action that continues for a certain period of time because there is no such thing in Russian or Ukrainian. Okay. The same student had trouble understanding the difference between and sounds like in bad and bad. My question is it worth pushing the internal intuitive understanding of a concept, or is it more reasonable to suggest that the students should learn the rules and move on? Oh, Nasty, it's not an easy question to answer, unfortunately, because people are not cookbooks. And if we are talking about this situation, a lot will depend on a specific person. Um, sometimes it is really worth leaving this person in peace because there is a big chance that they will grasp this idea a little bit later. And in general, never take it for granted that a person should necessarily get the understanding of some phenomena quickly. Sometimes it can be a very, very long process. Again, there is a nice analogy that will probably help you to understand what I mean. For example, when I usually start doing some new exercise, I mean physical exercise, not a language one, I always have a trouble understanding the movement. Always, 100%. And during my first training session with this new exercise, I can never do it correctly. And I find it very frustrating because this never happens in any language. In any language, I grasp concepts very easily. But when it comes to some physical activity, I can never do it quickly from the very beginning. And I can never get it correctly. And my coach simply accepts that fact. So during the first session, when he wants to introduce some new movement, he says, okay, just try it. I try it. Usually it looks awful, but then he says, okay, we will try it next time. And then gradually, after 3 or 4 sessions, I suddenly understand how I should move and everything is perfect. And now I have accepted this fact about myself. And I'm not nervous because I know that the first time is always awful for me, but then I'm getting better and better in the course of time. Sometimes, with some students, it is really important to put this problem aside a little bit. So we simply discuss the concept, we get the rule, we get some basic understanding, and that's it. We are not pushing them, we're not pressurizing them into really grasping the concept. Okay, now we have just a general idea about it. We know that this is a phenomenon that can happen in the language. Okay, that's enough. And then gradually we come back to it again and again and again, and they finally understand and they finally accept. When it comes to sounds, I try to teach them physically. So when I don't really need the understanding, because with the sounds, okay, we just say, look, well, some sounds are different in different languages. And I tell them physically what they should do in order to have the right sound. So, for example, if we have like bad, I tell them, okay, take the tip of your tongue, press it against your lower teeth, then open your mouth as wide as possible and say ah. Okay, as if you are trying to bite a huge apple. Ah. Yeah. When I want them to have the sound like in the word bed, I tell them, okay, make your lips as narrow as possible, your mouth as narrow as possible. Then try to smile, and while smiling, say eh. So I teach them physically how the sound should look. And then I simply remind about it without any understanding, because sounds are, well, they will, the same is about long vowels and short vowels, because many people find it difficult to grasp the idea. So I simply teach them that, okay, when you say leave, you say E, and in your mind you count 1 and 2. Leave. When you say live, then you simply make a short sound like 1. Live. That's it. So with phonetics, I don't really need their understanding. I just need their physical ability to reproduce the sound. With other concepts, it depends. So if I feel that a person gets frustrated by not understanding, I say, okay, let's put it aside for some time, and then we will get back to it, and gradually you will understand. Because sometimes they need to get to a higher level to understand some concept, to fully accept some concept that we studied before. Sometimes there are people who can't move further if they haven't fully accepted something you have taught. Then I will stay and I will try to make them grasp the concept. So it really depends on how this person reacts. What makes them more frustrated? Not being able to grasp the idea, or not being able to do correctly what you want them to do. And depending on that, you can have a different strategy. So with this math teacher, I would try to understand the same. Is she frustrated by her not being able to understand? Or is she frustrated by my insisting on her understanding? If she is frustrated by her inability to understand, I will pay more attention to it, and I will try to facilitate this intuitive grasping the idea. If she is frustrated by my pressure, I will simply move on. Okay, I want them to be happy. So everything that I do depends on whether it makes them happy. I know that it sounds a little bit strange, but I really believe in this principle. We teach people the way they like it. If I know 100% that something I do will discourage my student, I will try not to use this technique, even if I believe this is the best possible way of teaching. No, I want them to be motivated, encouraged, and happy. So I will try to base my solution on whether to proceed or to stay on how they feel. Okay? Yeah, so just try to be patient sometimes. Sometimes it takes a long time. People are different, they all have their own peculiarities. The adult learners are a problem because they have some specific background, and they also have a lot of learning experience in different spheres, and sometimes this experience was quite traumatic. So we should be patient with them. Young learners have a different problem. They are more open minded and they're more ready to accept new things, but they do not know how. So we have to be patient while teaching them how to learn. Yeah. And this is another problem here. Okay.